The rain fell harder now, drumming against the windshield in an insistent rhythm. Each drop seemed to echo the chaos inside me, blurring the world outside into streaks of light and shadow. I sat frozen, my fingers tangled in the fabric of my shawl as his words lingered in the air. "You're not invisible. Not to me." It was the kind of line that belonged in a film. Too intense, too intimate, too dangerous. And yet, hearing it in the soft hush of his voice, with his eyes locked on mine, it felt devastatingly real. I wanted to respond, to say something that would break the spell, but my throat was dry, my heart pounding too loudly in my ears. For years I had waited for Daniel to look at me this way, to speak to me with this kind of certainty. And now it was his boss, this man who should have been the farthest thing from temptation, who was pulling me in. I reached for the door handle, desperate to escape the storm inside me as much as the one outside. But his hand moved quickly, covering mine. His touch was warm, firm, and it sent an electric current racing up my arm. "Wait," he said softly. I froze, staring at his hand over mine. That single touch spoke volumes, possessive, protective, and undeniably dangerous. "You don't have to believe me," he continued, his voice low. "But you need to open your eyes. Daniel is not who you think he is. And the longer you stay silent, the more it will hurt you." My chest rose and fell in quick breaths. "Why are you telling me this? What do you gain from it?" He paused. His eyes softened, and for the first time I saw something raw flicker beneath his controlled exterior. "Because I can't watch it anymore. I can't watch you stand beside him, pretending you're happy, when I know he doesn't deserve you." The words hit me like a tidal wave. They weren't just about Daniel, they were about me. About the way he saw me. About the unspoken confession that had been building since the moment he offered me that ride. I yanked my hand free, my voice trembling. "You shouldn't say these things. You're his boss. I'm his wife. This is wrong. Wrong." He leaned closer, his gaze searing into mine. Or just forbiddance. The air between us thickened, charged with something I couldn't name. I should have opened the door and walked away. I should have ended the conversation, shut down the temptation, and protected what was left of my marriage. But I didn't. Because deep down, I didn't want to. For the first time in years, I felt seen, desired, alive. The rain softened, tapering into a light drizzle. He leaned back slightly, giving me space, but his words lingered, wrapping around me like a dangerous embrace. "I'm not asking for anything," he said quietly. "I just want you to know you're not alone. And when the truth comes out about Daniel, I'll be here." I turned to him, my voice breaking. "What truth?" He hesitated, then pulled something from the inside pocket of his jacket. "A phone." He tapped it, scrolled, and then angled it toward me. My breath caught. On the screen was a photo, grainy, taken from a distance, but clear enough. Daniel, my husband, standing far too close to a woman I didn't recognize. His hand on her waist, his face tilted toward hers in a way that needed no explanation. The air left my lungs. I felt like the ground beneath me had crumbled, leaving nothing but a dizzying drop. "No." The words slipped from my lips, desperate, broken. This isn't real." "It's real," he said gently. "I've known for a while. I didn't want to hurt you. But tonight, watching you wait for him while he was with her, I couldn't stay silent anymore." Tears blurred my vision, spilling hot and fast. I turned away, my body trembling. My marriage, the years of loyalty, the sacrifices, the waiting shattered in a single image. He didn't reach for me this time. He let me cry, the silence filled only by the soft hum of the car engine. And when I finally looked back at him, my voice was raw. Why? Why are you doing this for me? His eyes held mine, unwavering. Because you deserve more than lies. And because... He stopped, as if weighing the risk of the words. Finally, he exhaled. Because I care about you. More than I should. The confession hung between us. Heavy and irrevocable. I should have recoiled. I should have told him to. Stop. To never say such things again. But instead, I felt something inside me break open. A part of me that had been starved for attention, for affection, the truth finally fed by his words. The porch light outside my house flickered, pulling me back to reality. Home. The place where Daniel would eventually return, carrying the weight of his betrayal and expecting me to carry it blindly. I reached for the door handle again, my hand trembling. This time he didn't stop me. But just as I opened the door, he spoke once more, his voice soft but steady. You don't have to decide anything tonight. But remember this, I see you. And when you're ready to be seen, you know where to find me. I froze, the rain-scented air brushing against my face. Slowly, I turned back to him. His eyes were dark, intense, filled with a promise I didn't know how to handle. For a moment, neither of us moved. The world outside was quiet, the storm passing, leaving only the heavy stillness of what had just been said. Finally, I stepped out of the car, my heels clicking against the wet pavement. I walked up the path to my door, my body trembling with every step. But just before I reached the porch, I turned. He was still there, his silhouette framed by the dim light of the dashboard, watching me, waiting. And in that instant, I knew my life had changed. The shock wasn't just in the revelation of Daniel's betrayal. It was in the forbidden truth blooming inside me. An attraction, a connection, a dangerous possibility I could no longer deny. That night, as I closed the door behind me and leaned against it, my tears still wet on my cheeks, I realized the real shock wasn't what Daniel had done. It was the realization that a part of me didn't care anymore. Because someone else had finally seen me, and I wasn't sure I wanted to let that go. The car moved steadily through the quiet streets, its headlights cutting clean lines through the darkness. The rhythm of the road was soft and constant, but inside the vehicle, my thoughts were anything but calm. His words echoed inside me. You think no one sees it, but I do. It was unsettling. For so long, I had felt invisible, just another wife at the edge of company gatherings, another smile at Daniel's side, another woman lost in the background of her husband's ambitions. And now, out of nowhere, Daniel's boss was telling me he saw me. I shifted in my seat, tucking my shawl tighter, trying to steady my breathing. My heart betrayed me, beating too fast, betraying a nervousness I didn't want him to sense. You pay a lot of attention. I finally managed to say, my voice low. He glanced at me, eyes sharp even in the dim glow of the dashboard. I always pay attention. It's the reason I'm where I am. People underestimate the power of observation. They reveal more than they intend, just by existing. I swallowed hard. There was something unnerving about his calm confidence, the way he spoke as if he had access to truths others overlooked. And what exactly have you observed about me? I asked, half defensive, half curious. His lips curved. Not quite a smile, not quite a smirk. That you're lonely. That your husband doesn't see you the way he once did. That you want to feel alive again. But you don't know how to say it out loud. His words landed like a punch. I turned quickly to the window, my eyes darting over familiar houses, streetlights, anything but his face. You don't know me well enough to say that. I whispered. Don't I? His voice was quiet, steady, persuasive. Sometimes strangers see us clearer than the people closest to us. Your husband, he's distracted. He doesn't look at you. Not really. But I do. A silence settled, heavy and suffocating. I could feel his gaze even though he was focused on the road. Every word he had spoken pulled at the threads I tried. So hard to keep tied together. Finally, I forced a small, brittle laugh. You make it sound as if you know everything. No, he said simply. Not everything, but enough. His tone changed then, softer, almost careful. Do you know where Daniel was tonight? After he left, I froze. My chest tightened. He said he had a call. That's what he told you. The way he said it flat, almost dismissive, made my stomach twist. I turned to look at him fully now, my hands clenched together in my lap. What are you implying? He didn't answer right away. The car slowed as he turned down a quieter road, lined with tall trees that cast shifting shadows across the windshield. Finally, he exhaled. I shouldn't say anything. It's not my place. But you deserve honesty. More honesty than you're getting. I felt my pulse in my throat. If you know something, then say it. He glanced at me then, his eyes holding mine for a fraction too long. Daniel wasn't on a call. He was with someone. The world seemed to tilt. For a moment, I thought I had misheard him. The hum of the car, the faint patter of rain beginning on the windshield, it all felt distant. With someone? I repeated, my voice shaking. He nodded once, his expression unreadable. I've seen it before. I wasn't sure if I should tell you. But tonight, when he left and you were left standing alone, I couldn't keep quiet. My chest constricted, a sharp ache spreading through me. You're saying my husband? Yes. His voice was low, firm. I'm saying Daniel is not the man you think he is. I couldn't breathe. My thoughts spiraled, fragments of memories flashing before me. The late nights at the office, the rushed explanations, the distracted smiles. I had pushed away my doubts, telling myself he was just dedicated to his work. But now, I don't believe you, I said, though my voice betrayed me. You don't have to, he replied calmly. But deep down, you already know. Don't you? My throat tightened. I wanted to scream at him, to tell him he was lying, that he was trying to poison my marriage. But the truth was, a small, painful part of me did know. I had known for a while. I just hadn't wanted to face it. Tears stung at the back of my eyes. I turned away, pressing my palm against the cool glass of the window. The silence in the car now was unbearable. After a long moment, I whispered, "Why are you telling me this?" For the first time, his voice softened, losing its sharpness. Because you deserve more than lies. You deserve someone who sees you. I turned slowly, my eyes meeting his. His gaze was steady, unwavering. It wasn't the look of a man gossiping or seeking to stir trouble. It was the look of someone who meant what he said. The air between us shifted. The professional barrier that had always existed was gone now, shattered by his words. What remained was something raw, dangerous, and undeniable. You shouldn't say things like that, I whispered, though my voice lacked conviction. Why not? He asked quietly. Because I'm your husband's boss. Because it complicates things. Or because you feel something when I say it. My breath hitched. He was too close to the truth. Cutting through my defenses like glass. The rain picked up, droplets streaking down the windshield. The sound filled the car, a steady rhythm that matched the pounding of my heart. I didn't answer him. I couldn't. My silence was an admission in itself. Finally, he pulled the car to a slow stop at the curb outside my house. The porch light glowed faintly, casting a familiar comfort I suddenly no longer felt. But he didn't unlock the doors. He didn't move. Instead, he turned to me fully now, his eyes searching mine. "I know this puts you in an impossible position," he said softly, "but I couldn't let you keep living in the dark. You deserve the truth. And maybe," he paused, his voice dropping lower, "maybe you deserve more than what he's giving you." The weight of his words crushed me. I sat frozen, torn between disbelief and the aching realization that he might be right. And then before I could think, before I could breathe, he leaned slightly closer, his voice almost a whisper. "You're not invisible. Not to me." My heart stopped. The night air was cool, carrying the faint scent of rain as people trickled out of the hotel where the corporate dinner had just ended. The evening had been long hours of formal speeches, polite laughter, and clinking glasses. I was exhausted, but also restless, the kind of restlessness that comes when you're surrounded by so many people, yet feel entirely alone. That my husband, Daniel, had left earlier in the evening. He'd excused himself with a half-smile, whispering to me that he had an urgent call to take and would meet me at home. I didn't think much of it at the time. Daniel often had late calls or sudden work demands. But as I stood at the entrance, clutching my shawl tighter against my shoulders, I realized I didn't have a ride home. That's when I heard his voice. Deep, smooth, and commanding. "Need a ride?" I turned, and there he was, Mr. Carter, my husband's boss. The man who ran the company with an iron hand, but spoke with the ease of someone who always knew he was in control. His presence was impossible to ignore. Tall, impeccably dressed, his dark suit tailored perfectly, his silver watch catching the glow of the streetlight. For a moment, I hesitated. Accepting a ride from him felt unusual. He wasn't just any man. He was Daniel's boss, someone I'd only interacted with in professional settings. Still, refusing felt rude, and the night was growing colder. "If it's not too much trouble," I said softly. He smiled, that charming, knowing smile that always seemed to hide more than it revealed. "No trouble at all. My car's just over here." His car was sleek, black, and polished, the kind of luxury vehicle that hummed with quiet power. He opened the passenger door for me, his hand brushing against mine for just a second so brief I might have imagined it, yet long enough to make my pulse quicken. I slipped inside, inhaling the subtle scent of leather and something distinctly masculine, his cologne, rich and warm. As he slid into the driver's seat and started the engine, I found myself unusually aware of how close we were in the confined space. The world outside seemed distant, muted by the soft purr of the car. For the first few minutes, the ride was filled with polite silence, broken only by the sound of tires on the wet road. I stared out of the window, watching city lights blur into streaks of gold. Then his voice broke through. "You looked distracted tonight." I turned my head, surprised. Distracted? He glanced at me briefly, one hand steady on the wheel. "Yes. Everyone else seemed engrossed in the speeches, the toasts, the networking. But you looked like your mind was somewhere else." I felt heat rise to my cheeks. He had noticed me. Out of everyone in that crowded hall, he had been watching me. "I suppose I was tired," I replied quickly, forcing a small laugh. "These events can be overwhelming." "True," he said, his tone thoughtful. "But I have a feeling it was more than that." There it was again, that piercing perception, as if he could see through layers I kept hidden even from myself. The car turned onto a quieter street, and suddenly the atmosphere felt heavier, more intimate. I adjusted my shawl nervously. Daniel left early, he continued casually, but there was something sharp beneath his words. That must happen often. I stiffened. It wasn't exactly a secret that my husband was often busy. But the way Mr. Carter said, it made it sound like something else. A statement. An observation that carried weight. Yes, I admitted slowly. Work keeps him busy. Work, he repeated, almost to himself. His lips curved, but it wasn't quite a smile. Interesting word, isn't it? Covers so many things. I frowned slightly, unsure what he meant. Before I could ask, he shifted the conversation, his voice softening. Tell me, do you ever get tired of it? The meetings, the waiting, the late nights. His question struck deeper than I expected. Tired? Of course I was tired. I often felt like my marriage had become a cycle of waiting for him to come home, waiting for him to notice me, waiting for things to feel like they once did. But admitting that to my husband's boss felt dangerous. I suppose everyone gets tired sometimes, I said carefully. He chuckled lightly, shaking his head. You're careful with your words. I like that, but I can tell you're holding back. The silence stretched again, but this time it was charged, thick with unspoken things. I could feel his eyes flicking toward me when the traffic lights turned red, lingering just a second too long. And I couldn't deny it, my heart was beating faster. When we finally pulled onto the long road leading to my neighborhood, I almost sighed with relief. The ride had felt longer than it was, stretched by the tension that filled the air. But just as I thought the conversation was over, he spoke again. You know, not everyone notices the little things. But I do. I turned, confused. What do? You mean? His gaze stayed on the road, but his voice was steady, deliberate. The way you sit quietly at these events, the way your eyes wander, the way you smile politely, but your smile never quite reaches your eyes. You think no one sees it, but I do. My breath caught in my throat. In that moment, I wasn't sure what shocked me more, the fact that he had been watching me so closely, or the fact that he was right.